Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 22nd meeting of the Committee on Ways and Means. Will everyone please rise and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight will be the final meeting of the Ways and Means Committee, and the budget will be voted on the 27th of June at our regular meeting. We have several departments on the agenda this evening. I'm going to take the school department out of line here because I know she has some previous appointments. Madam Superintendent, would you come up to the podium?
Thank you, Mr. Powers.
Just name and address.
So my name is Diane Kelly. My address is 115 Florida Street in Dorchester. I'm here representing the school department at 101 School Street in Riviera.
Okay. Are there any comments you'd like to present regarding your budget?
Sure. I'd just like to start off by saying it's been a very difficult budget season for the school department. As the council knows, we saw a major cut in funding from the state due to a change in definition of poverty that actually reduced our budget by over $2 million. And despite the fact that we have 170 more students in the school department this year than we did last year, which led us to anticipate a $2 million increase, we saw ourselves needing to cut many things from the budget. And our focus in working with the school committee and the school department was on cutting things from the budget instead of people from the budget. And so we're pleased to be able to finalize a budget and submit a balanced budget for the council's approval that actually represents $1.8 million in cuts. There were about 19 positions reduced, but thankfully due to attrition instead of from layoffs. The rest of those cuts were made in reductions to school and central office supply and material budgets, and also programs that we had in place with community partners and other educational leadership organizations from across the state, including the Bay State Reading Program and some other programs that we saw as hallmarks of our overall series of programming, educational programming for students. Another large one was our interim assessment program that we partnered with the Achievement Network to produce. We've worked a lot with the curriculum directors and the principals to put other pieces in place, and we've worked with our 5-district partnership program through the Chelsea Public Schools, the Winthrop Public Schools, Malden Public Schools, and Everett Public Schools to condense and consolidate some resources that we're able to share among us. So with that, the budget is before you, and we've done the best that we could to preserve the human resources that we have in place to help all of our kids achieve at high levels.
Thank you. The members of the committee that are here are Councilor Patch, Councilor Hass, Councilor Marabito, and myself, also in attendance, is the Ward 4 Councilor, Keith, Arthur Ganasso, and that's it. I'm going to open this up to members of the committee first, and then we'll go to the other members if they have any questions. Councilor Hass.
Diane, with the changing of the law, do you think we're going to have a hard time next year as far as the budget is concerned? Because the governor indicated they're going to address the 5 communities. Is there any hope that they may give us more money to 5 schools? What do you know about that?
So we've done a lot of work. The mayor, the school committee, and I have done a lot of work petitioning Beacon Hill to correct the error that was made actually in the governor's original budget.
Right.
And both the budgets passed by the House and the Senate include provisions to revisit the definition of poverty and correct the error in the Chapter 70 formula that resulted in this problem for Riviera and the other districts. So because both the Senate and the House had that as part of their finalized voted budgets, I feel confident that that will carry through the joint committees into the final budget that will be released. They both called for a study to have findings and corrections made by December, which will be telling and informing our next budget season, but I expect it to have a positive outcome. We had a lot of positive responses from our legislators on Beacon Hill, so I do feel confident that we'll be able to eradicate this. This will be a one-year issue, and next year we'll be in better position to reinstate some of the programs and some of the positions that we had to put on hold for this year.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Councilor Harris, that's it. Thank you very much for your comments. Councilor Morabito?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just curious, what's the anticipated enrollment for next year?
So our enrollment trends have been steadily increasing by about 150 to 200 students over each of the last 6 years. We anticipate that trend will continue, which would bring our total enrollment to just over 7,500.
Thank you very much, Councilor Morabito. Madam Superintendent, that was a good presentation, and I think everyone knows that we're under a difficult financial stress right now with regard to not just the school department, but all departments. And I know that I know firsthand that the mayor has worked very hard with you on the budget, trying to bring it into something that's palatable for the taxpayer. And I want to thank you for your presentation here this evening. And the budget will be voted on the 27th, which is next Monday evening, before the City Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for accommodating my request to go out of order.
Councilor Ganasso, you have a question?
I have somewhat of a response. I just think that Superintendent Kelly, his dissertation was second to none. I've been here for several years listening to people come to the podium and give a view and an overview of their department. You did an unbelievable job, and you did it without notes, so that's very impressive. You ought to be congratulated when you're talking in the area of 7,500 students. That's a similar size to some small cities and towns. And so you're charged with an unbelievable responsibility. And you know, we are here to assist in any way we can. Thank God we lost those jobs through attrition and not through layoff. And I think that process always works best. But there was a value to those positions prior to these people leaving. And so we still have a void. And that we have a responsibility to our school children to make certain that those voids are corrected. And I think you alluded to the fact that we think we're going to experience this for a year and get through that, and possibly next year we'll be in a better financial position. We're hoping that, and I think that's the direction we want to go in. But again, I think Superintendent Kelly, you did a great job, and certainly impressive. And the other evening, and a couple of weeks ago prior, when those students from your schools came before us and they delivered their speeches to us, I was never so impressed. I wish that we could have telecast that throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to show the Commonwealth what we have for young people in our system. And they were very, very impressive, as they were at graduation night. It was a great ceremony, and you should be proud, and your staff should take all the credit in the world for helping those kids develop into what they are today. And I certainly recognize it, and I'm sure my colleagues and all the residents out there also recognize that. So congratulations.
Thank you, Councilor Ganasso. I just want one comment.
Thank you. Just one comment. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. We have the best teachers and administrators and other employees in the school department than any other district in the state. And I think one of they're certainly a major part of why our kids are so successful, but it's also because this city really takes care of its schools. This is a city that pays attention to what the school department needs. It's a city council and a mayor and citizens who really embrace us and work with us and try to help us be stronger, and that's really important. So we thank you as well for your contribution, and a great school committee and a great staff and a great faculty that help us get where we are. Thank you.
Just as a comment, as a member of the Revere Scholarship Committee, I had the opportunity to look at some of the essays that were presented by the students, and unbelievable, really touching. You know, the conditions that some of these children go through, and still, you know, they're up there, and their marks are up there. One in particular, I think fourth in her class, under very difficult circumstances. And this year, with the committee, was fortunate to have its resources of $30,000 we could give out in scholarships, and I think that was just a great thing. And again, going through there, looking at their averages and their essays, just tremendous. And that tells us that yourself and your staff is doing a great job over there. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is Recreational Services Department. Is it? City Solicitor? Okay. Paul?
Good evening, councilors. My name is Paul. Excuse me. My name is Paul Capizzi, the city solicitor for the city of Revere. Do you want my home address or the city hall address, which I'm happy to give you, though I know you all know it?
Do you care to tell us a little bit
As
about
you
your
know-
department?
As you know, this office, the solicitor's office has same size. It's 3 staff, myself, my assistant solicitor, Dan Doherty, and my assistant, Cheryl McCormick. It's not a huge budget. The biggest portion of our budget is the outside legal or possibly execution, should there ever be a judgment against the city. Other than that, it's pretty much standard and the same. There's been a reduction in a couple of smaller line items. But otherwise, nothing to write home about, as they say.
You'll find that on pages 65, 66, and 67 for committee members have any questions regarding the budget. Councilor Patch, you have any questions?
No, basically, it's about the same as it was last year. It's just, it's a very small budget.
Correct.
Good job.
Thank you, Charlie.
Councilor Hass,
Councilor
any
Patch.
questions? Councilor Maravito? Okay, I just have one question.
Sure, John.
There are some properties in the city that they're in tax title, or there are fines being levied against them for many, many violations. 2 in particular on North Shore Road. I believe you probably know the 2 I'm speaking of.
I am familiar with that, yes.
Where are they right now?
I would have brought that paperwork with me. They're either with the Safe Housing Task Force ready for enforcement, or they're in the process of still being fined until we get to that point.
Okay, so they are being fined.
To the best of my knowledge, yes, you can, I don't know if you've done inspectional services budget already, but Nick Kettenhauser will be the person best to answer that question.
Okay, thank you very much. Paul, thank you very much for your attendance here this evening.
No problem. You're welcome, Counselor.
Next one is Recreational Services.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you? My name is Michael Hinojosa. I'm Director of Parks and Recreation. My address is 37 Amelia Place.
Okay. Tell us a little about your budget, anything that's changed?
Yeah, I'm a little, looks like I could be a little bit understaffed this year as of this moment in time. Looks like we'll have a director, an assistant director, and then a programs activity coordinator.
Okay. You have a cash revolving account down there.
I do, yes.
Can you
Yep.
tell me what the balance might be in that account right now?
To the best of my knowledge, to date, 20,000.
How much?
About 20,000.
20,000, and that's it?
That's it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Counselor Haas, any questions? Counselor Patch?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Michael, as far as, I'm a little curious here, this senior clerk typist, John Camerata. I went through the, actually, everybody says how great this budget looks, but you can see how the budget looked in 2015. I'm just curious, because even back in 2015, you always had 2 senior clerk typists and a part-time senior clerk type. Oh, no, actually 1 senior full-time and 2 part-time?
We had 1 senior full-time, 1 senior clerk typist part-time, an assistant to the director, and a director, correct.
Okay, yeah, I'm counting. First of all, I'd like to mention, before I get into what I really want to say, I see that Robert McCarrick, he's retiring, correct? Is he retiring?
Mr. McCarrick has been sick for a couple of years now and has not worked in our department for about at least 2 years.
Right.
There's probably no way of him coming back at this moment in time.
I realize he was sick. We go show with all my colleagues. We go way back with Bobby.
I speak to him every couple of
Ace.
weeks, yeah.
And they used to, from umpire when I was a little kid to, he was one of the best guys to come out of this city, and I just want to mention him.
A great human
on the
being.
way out here.
We should really do something for him.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
And now to get back to the actually the program active coordinator. And now all these your employees here are union workers, correct? Are they all in the union?
Yes.
You're the only one. Are you in the union too?
Like the A union or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Sally Computer Varanus, she was a senior clerk typist last year, correct?
Correct.
Or
Yep.
this present year.
This past year, correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was she was part-time?
And she was part-time, yes, 28 hours.
I know in my experiences in unions, so the title is being changed. Her title is being changed. Has that been posted, advertised, that change?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Because I do believe that, although in my past experience down there at the rec, I mean, both John and Sally have done a great job down there. Actually, John was actually, you lost your Colleen for like, what, 2 years?
It's been about a year and
She
a
was
half now. Yep.
moved to another department.
Correct.
And John was taking over most of her duties.
That is correct, yes.
And I just, and I believe he was the senior clerk typist?
That is correct, yep.
Okay. I would just like to, I'm going to put make a motion to get his salary put back into the budget. Because I think there'll be a problem down the road with the union as far as what happened here. And I just think it's the right thing to do. And should I wait to make that motion, Mr. Chairman?
Well, you could, or you could.
Oh, I can wait till the end. Michael, I just want to congratulate you on doing a fine job. I know it's been a tough year, taking care of the parks, all the different parks for for the St. Mary's Little League, and you and I know John helped you a lot in that. I just think that it's too bad we had to go through what we did this year as far as the high school girls softball and the St. Mary's Little League. And I really, my personal belief is that there was no need of it. It should have been, that park should have been completed. But I guess, I tried my best to at least get a couple of games there for the Revere High girls softball team. And I didn't think I was going to have a problem with it. I thought St. Mary's would definitely play there. And I guess they also had to cancel the Bay State. You had tournament games scheduled for
I think they had some Bay State games scheduled down there. But, right, it's all a shame, that maybe the contractor wasn't on schedule or, couldn't be held to the schedule that he had promised us. But, at the end of the day, if you've driven by there, I think you're going to see a spectacular place for many, many years to come. It looks tremendous. So from a design standpoint, from everything, being able to squeeze 3 fields in there, at the end of the day, it's going to be a great place for the city to hang its hat on.
I agree with you. It's going by there. I was just down the other day because a couple of neighbors had a little fence problem down there. But they definitely started moving in a faster pace there when we Council, I want to congratulate Councilor Keefe and myself for we had enough, and finally we got it kind of moving. But I just it's going to be really beautiful. But I'm still concerned about the storage facility, and which is going to consist of the bathrooms and the do you know if that's been put up for bid yet?
To my knowledge, nothing has gone out to bid. I have been in contact with CDM Smith a little bit, and they have not put out the bid proposal. I think at the end of the day, the mayor could be waiting for, some options or some prices about, how we can put this facility together. Again, we have a gorgeous facility. As you know, storage is a place to keep things is obviously very important. So you can't maintain 3 fields without having some sort of storage facility there.
Right.
And then obviously the bathrooms, porta potties are not, for this facility, I would say, porta potties really are not the way to go, but.
Right. Well, we're going to have I believe we have a meeting scheduled for next Monday night, the Council of the Whole, on St. Mary's. So we'll get some answers there on that. But again, thanks for all your help and support.
No problem. Thank you.
That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Ganasso.
I know it's been mentioned in the past, and certainly it makes, I don't know for any other reason why it isn't being done, but the senior clerk typist, that's not a description of this particular position. And a program activity coordinator, I could see that. And there's 2 senior clerk typist positions here.
Yep.
And that's absolutely incorrect. I mean, there's got to be a more descriptive thing that we could place on those positions.
There was. When they got hired, and I think that was part of the process, that I know the previous administration had talked about, and I know that's certainly something that Brian's doing because he's obviously, changing titles that are more descriptive to what we're doing.
I think it makes sense because to come up and suggest that John Cameron is a typist, the typists it isn't even in today's world.
Well, if
of technology anymore.
you would have to go back to last year's budget hearing. And I think it was Councilor Reardon at the time who had said, when I see senior clerk typist on there, I think of, going into the rec center and everybody's
Type.
sitting there typing away.
What the point I make about it is very likely, is that it gives us up here, anybody who's going to review these records, a better idea and understanding of what the position is.
Correct.
But to just say senior clerk typist, we know he's not a senior clerk typist, and we know that that's not the case. We know, we would like a little brief description as to what it is. And maybe that could be put as a footnote for this year, so we can carry forward next year.
Well, again, me and Brian had discussed, Mayor Arrigo had discussed about 3 months ago, we broke down the job titles of everybody that was in there, and I gave him job descriptions of everybody. So it's possibly why he has eliminated the senior clerk typist position.
And it also, Mike, it's not just with your department, by the way. It's with every department. There's quite a few that are listed as clerk typists.
Yeah.
That's a position that's long gone in today's world.
Right,
So-
but I don't think it's ever been changed on the book. So when you go to post a position from a city standpoint, I think that was an entry-level position into the job market, so to speak.
At
So
some point, we have to make a decision to change it.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Because that's incorrect in today's world.
Because the job description of my place is not, I don't have senior clerk typist.
That's right.
I've got facility maintenance,
That's right.
program
That's
coordinators.
exactly the point I
Yeah,
made.
I mean, that's exactly
Gives
what
us
I
a
have.
clarity as to what position, what are they doing? You know, they're not typing.
I'd be more than happy to give you those descriptions at any time you'd like.
No, I'm talking that I think that should be incorporated into the budget system so that we,
Yeah.
and when you advertise for the position, formerly known as clerk, but now changed to a more appropriate title.
Great.
Thanks, Mike.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Councilor
Mr.
Canazzo.
Chairman.
Councilor Hess.
Thank you, Mr. President. Why don't we make that change now? If Michael knows what the description of that clerk typist is, let's make the amendment to the budget.
The position's not in there. How would you,
Well, the one he's deleting is in there.
yeah.
We want to make sure that as Charlie is going to make a motion, that we fill that title properly and not as a clerk typist.
Well, yeah,
Let's
I-
correct the problem now.
I think that would be up to the mayor and the director to sit down and
Well, we can
put a
make,
job description together.
we can make recommendations in the
I
budget.
know we
That's
can
what
make
we're
a
doing.
recommendation.
Right.
And what I would recommend that it be recreation coordinator. Wouldn't that be more or less what the person would be doing?
That's exactly what he'd be doing, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So then we'd all know.
Right, exactly. Thank you.
Councilor Keefe.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Powers. Mr. Hinojosa, I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
How many children or how many people, youth, does the Recreation Department service on an annual basis, approximately? And I know it's hard to judge because of the programs that you do don't always have
Well,
enrollment.
right, there's so many multiple participants in many things, but I would probably say that we register close to 1,000 kids in the, 20-something programs that
Okay.
we have to offer.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
so, is that much like the school system? Is there a normal increase every year, would you say?
Since I've started, every year we've gone up probably at least 10 to 20% every year from where we were.
Okay.
From where we were.
So, would you, in my opinion, much like the school system, I'm looking at the budget and I'm surprised to see that there's a reduction in the total spend over last year by about $40,000, give or take. Would you think that in order to sustain the programs that you have right now, in order to offer the same services that we have offered in the past, and Revere is a city with a high density of an urban population, high density of children, kids that need services, kids that need sports and athletic programs, and even in the recreation center, there's non-sports programs that you're able to offer. Do you think it would behoove us as a city to spend less money in 2017? I'm just asking for your, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm asking for your recommendation. Do you think it would be smart to spend $40,000 less, and on only a $180,000, well, looks like a $150,000 budget, do you think it would be smart to spend less money in 2017 than it would be to spend in 2016 that we already spent?
I can only answer it like this. So over the last 4 years, again, from a percentage standpoint, our participation in even some of our biggest events, 4th of July, tree lighting, the reason that those events have gotten so big is because of the staffing that I have. It'd be very difficult for me to maintain the level of stuff that we do or make it as big as we do without the staff. I'm obviously extremely concerned about rolling into the summer, down 25% of my staff. Yes, I am. Because at the end of the day, it just relies so heavily on me. As you know, this is not a 40-hour-a-week job. For me, it's closer to 60 hours. I'm not certainly not whining about that. But at the end of the day, there are so many nights and weekends that I have to be here and around. Specifically for me, for my staff, when I can't make it, typically somebody else would be there in my place.
So in my opinion, and I am not on the Ways and Means Commission, just speaking from a council standpoint, I would empower the Ways and Means and also the council to try and bring this budget back to what it was at least in 2016. Not anymore. I think that you can certainly try and be responsible to utilize your monies wisely. I know that there also are programs where you've been able to go out and get some private donations and to add to the program. But this is not the time in our city. This is not the time in our neighborhoods to be taking away from the needs of the children, the needs of the youth in our city, especially with the growing problems with drug epidemic and obesity and you name it, the countless issues. But the needs of our residents, it's a vital need. We talk about offering amenities to our neediest residents, and these are the people that need it the most. I wouldn't ask the council to approve any more money. I would just ask that we keep it to where it was. And I really don't care what the name of the position is, and I'm not necessarily even certain if it is a position, but in order to give the resources to the Revere Recreation Department to service if we have 7,000 children in our school system, I can only imagine there's 15,000, 20,000 children in the city, regardless of just the school system, that have these services and that we need to render services to. I would expect that we could spend the extra $30,000 to $40,000 over the course of a year and use it wisely. Once again, not asking to spend a penny more than we did in 2016, or possibly, I don't have 2015 in front of us, but probably about the same as we did in 2015. I'm not sure if you can recollect what 2015 looked like. That would be my
same budget. Yeah.
So pretty much the same.
Yep.
I think that would be pretty respectful, or even if we were able to use that 3% potential reduction to give back $35,000 to $40,000 to the Recreation Department. I think we can find that somewhere. I'd like to try and find that somewhere.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Keefe. Councilor Morabito.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On page 131, Mr. Anahosa, is this, under seasonal salaries, I noticed there was $34,000 extra in fiscal year 2016. Was that a grant? Under youth summer jobs?
No. It wasn't a grant. I think you guys voted on it. We were over budget and for summer salaries. And that was to close the gap.
Okay. I can see what my colleague, Councilor Keefe, is saying. Last thing we want to do is deprive the kids of the city these privileges, being able to partake in all these summer activities, these Halloween activities that you do. I'd be willing to increase the budget because it will benefit the children. So I'd be willing to if my colleagues on the subcommittee don't object.
Point of information, we can make recommendations, Counselor, but we cannot add to any budget. That's up to the discretion of the mayor, if I'm correct. No?
Two-thirds vote to put something into the budget that has not been provided. And if he has provided for something, then you can only recommend it. If it's not provided for, two-thirds vote of the council can put it in.
Counselor Morabito, is it you? Any more questions?
All set.
Okay. I have a couple of questions. First one is, I'm looking here at FY 2016. There was, out of the $140,000, there was $50,000 earmarked for the Sandcastle event. And then underneath that, there was another $10,000. Was that that was a recommendation of the council, I believe? That extra $10,000?
That was on the recommendation of, I think, the previous mayor to the council to add an additional $10,000.
Yeah, okay, it was approved by the council.
Approved by the council, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Now,
So when you see Sandcastle, unfortunately, that's not my department. I don't put in for it. That seems to be where the money has been parked.
it's just in your budget. Yeah, now,
Just in my budget.
I have a question, and I don't know if you can answer this off the top of your head, or
I'll do my best.
fees for permitting,
Yep.
okay? And money that's comes from sponsors, like for the summer program. I know when I started that program several decades ago, we got grants from different companies, businesses around the city. Could you tell me basically what we're getting now with regard to fees and grants that doesn't show up here?
Well, strictly, when you say fees, you lost me with fees, so.
Somebody comes in for a permit for a gym. Is there a fee for that?
There is, but we see from a gym fee standpoint, we see very little money from it. Even though my department does it, I rent the facility out. Everything but a $10 permit fee
Yep.
goes to the school department.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about, the $10 permitting fee.
Yes, so we get a $10 fee for just about every permit that we write.
Okay. and-
That fee totals maybe $500 to $750.
Okay, are there any other monies that the department gets from sponsors? People that would...
We actively solicit companies to sponsor some of our events. Last year, we probably received in the neighborhood of $8,000 to $10,000 in donations from companies. Yep.
And that's it? And that goes in where the $20,000 is, right? That's part of the $20,000?
And that goes directly with, yes.
Okay.
So this is the first year ever leading up into the budget that we've had money in that account. Typically, that account is drawn all the way down to zero by, say, May. But for whatever particular reason, I like to think it's good budgeting and spending the money the correct way, that we now have a little bit of a surplus leading into the summer. So
That's a good thing.
it's,
And,
I
I don't
think
have
it
any
is.
other questions. And any of the councils have any questions?
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Councilmember Vito.
I move that we take a vote, and I recommend that we take the salary, the deficit of $39,305 from senior clerk typist John Camerata, and add that to the seasonal salaries line item. This way, a lot of the events that we do for the rec center are seasonal, basically on the summer. If we can hire more part-timers, will that be helpful? If we included that in the seasonal salaries?
No. For me, it wouldn't be all that helpful. In years past, as anybody has driven by one of the parks, sometimes we're a little overstaffed from summer help, especially at some of the parks. We've done, me and the mayor have sat down, we devised a plan this year to, really stay, within budget from a seasonal salary standpoint. So I think we've now hired the correct amount of kids, to get me through my summer program. Well, I mean, from a staffing standpoint. I mean, again, they're kids. They're 15 to 20-year-old kid. They're kids at the end of the day. I need obviously an adult, the staffing to, be there for the whole year. From a planning standpoint.
So with the $34,000 that the council approved for fiscal year 2016, or recommended, and it was approved by the mayor, that wasn't useful because it wasn't used? Or?
Oh, no, we used it. No, it was at that moment in time, it was extremely useful. Yes. Last year, we were probably at 340 kids that we hired. This year, we're at 240. So, again, staying within budget, a key priority for the mayor, and obviously one of my priorities too. So, that's about the number that we're at right now. So, from a summer help standpoint, I'm in very good shape.
Okay, then I retract.
Okay, so how many kids did we hire last year?
Oh, somewhere in the neighborhood of 340.
340?
Yes.
And they were working where?
They were working in the parks. They were working in the school department. Some kids were at City Hall. We partnered with the PAL program. We sent some kids down there, and my summer camp.
Okay. Any of them doing maintenance work or anything like that?
My apologies. And we probably sent about 50 kids over to the DPW.
Okay.
So this year we're trying to lower the number of kids that we send to the DPW.
Just seems like a lot of kids to supervise adequately.
It was a daunting task. I think we're in the sweet zone now, as you would like to call it. This a much more manageable number. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
I don't have any more questions. I want to commend you for your work down there. You're doing a great job. You're continuing a lot of the programs that have been there for many years, and that's a positive thing. I know we don't have some of the programs we had down there years ago, like basketball, softball, and things like that. But it's my hope that someday we can get those programs back in the city.
Well, we have a pretty extensive basketball program now. I mean, the rec basketball is pretty good. Last year we serviced about 180 kids, through grades 3 through 8. The men's softball program that we talked about, that we were all part of, in the 80s and 90s, that ACE was a gigantic part of. We did, 2 years ago, we tried to bring that back. We got 4 men's softball teams. I actually have some old clippings in the rec center about the Journal and,
I
watch.
think we had one time, we had like 18 teams down there. We had
Oh, yeah, it was-
women's softball.
it was
we
even
had
more than that, yes.
30-some-odd basketball teams, men's basketball.
So if there is interest, trust me, the more sports that we have for me, the better I like it, so.
Those are some of the things that I'd like to see come back to the city, because years ago, we had, people would get down to Hill Park and
play.
spend
Yeah,
the
I
night
know.
down there every 5 or 6 nights a week watching the different teams.
Every night, yeah.
You know,
And it was
to me,
good
that's
softball.
positive, and
Yeah.
something I'd like to see come back.
So as long as there's some interest, I will do my best to put it together.
Thank you very much,
You're more
sir.
than welcome. Just can I make one more?
Sure.
I'm sorry to take up any more of your time, but my apologies. Usually I send you out a letter and some pamphlets, and you should see those tomorrow in your mailbox. So, okay?
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
and have a good and successful season down there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
The next department we're going to discuss will be the Election Commission.
Diane Colella, Election Commissioner,
Gentlemen.
281 Broadway.
Pages 20 to 23, I believe. Yeah.
I'd first like to say that I'm very thankful and grateful for the opportunity that I've been given to continue to serve, and I appreciate all the support that the council gives me on a regular basis. So thank you very much.
Well, you do an excellent job down there.
Thank you, sir.
And in spite of the fact that we've had election after election after election, and I know that must be very difficult for you and your department down there.
It has.
To just go from one election to another, and you do a great job down there. And
Thank you, sir.
we're very happy with that.
Thank you.
Councilors, are there any councilors that have any questions for the,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
How many elections do you think we'll have this year?
We have at least 2 more, and we may be adding to that.
Well, I've never seen so many elections in the last 2 years, and I think you've done a great job. So
Thank you,
keep
sir.
up the good work.
Thank you.
any other councilors have questions?
Excuse me?
Councilor
Thank
Patch,
you.
any questions for the election department?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Only that Diana does a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Hopefully, you won't have as many elections this next year as this past.
I really, I just want to say thank you very much for your support, all the support that you've given me throughout the year. I really appreciate that. And thank you for the opportunity to continue to serve. Thank you, sirs.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
Yep. Veteran Services, Veterans Affairs. Nick?
Nick Bua, Director of Veteran Services, 1 Revere Beach Boulevard. Mr. Chairman, we've had a very successful year. We've had numerous functions this year, and Memorial Day went very, very well. Prior to Memorial Day, we put the flags on the graves of our deceased veterans in our community, and I got a tremendous amount of help from not only Donna, my right-hand person, and her husband Steve, and Bill Reedy. I get some people who volunteers, Bill Reedy, Frank Saro, I mean, how we share. I get some good people who support the veterans in our community.
Well, I want to, Frank Sarro is sitting here this evening, and I want to
That's why he reminded me.
thank him for the services that he does provide for the
He
city.
does a great job.
Thank you.
And recently, I've had a ceremony with the Boy Scouts for our flag retirement. And as most people know, we have 3 collection boxes for our old flags. There's one on Broadway, there's one at the Doughboy store, and there's one at the VFW posts in Beachmont. And thankfully, I have Bill Reedy and Frank. They go around and collect the flags, and we store them for the Boy Scouts. And they had a tremendous, a very nice ceremony this year, and we're very happy. And we destroyed the flags in the proper manner. So, but we've also been working throughout the year with our food bank for the veterans. We do it monthly, and we take care of approximately 169 veteran families in our community. And fortunately, Donna, I have Donna, she handles the whole program for me. She makes the arrangements, she gets the volunteers, and while we're on the subject of Donna, and I was very upset back here listening to Recreational Services about the clerk typist. She's referred to as a clerk typist, and I've been working with her, with the previous administration as well as the current administration, and they says they could not do anything as far as upgrading her status. And now I'm sitting back here tonight and I'm listening to someone who's been upgraded to a principal clerk. It really bothers me that, she does a tremendous amount of work, and as you had said, or was said earlier, there's no such thing as a clerk typist anymore. It's an antiquated expression. With her, I would like to see a office manager for her to be designated as an office manager. She does so much more as far as the office is concerned. She does the ordering, all the ordering, and she takes care of all the medical bills. She takes care of Operation Troop Support. We collect items for the troop support, and her husband Steve and her, they take them up. They take the products up to Operation Troop Support, and at their own expense. They don't even request any monies for gas or anything. So, but they do it out of the kindness of their hearts. But to have her denied the title that she's so deserving of, I really feel. And then I sit here and I hear that someone was upgraded. I was always told it was a union issue, and now someone was upgraded without the union. So we seem to have a dual system here, and I'm very upset about it at this point in time. But I think the councilors agree that she should be, as well as anybody else who has the same low grades, to be upgraded. But
Excuse me, just a point of information. When you say somebody was upgraded, specifically, what are we talking about?
Well, Mike Generosa was just mentioned that someone was upgraded.
There was a position eliminated from the budget, and then there was talk about reinstating that person and changing the title to principal clerk or junior clerk or whatever it might be.
That's right, it was changed.
But it wasn't.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
It wasn't an upgrade. What it was doing was just defining the duties of the person. But there was no upgrade.
Point of information.
Councilor Patch.
Nick is right. That wasn't. She was a senior clerk, and she got. They just gave her another title. and they gave her an increase in salary, and they increased her hours also.
We're talking about the same
The
person?
excuse me, the woman in the Parks and Recreation. She was a senior clerk,
Okay.
the same as John Camerado was. They had the same title, but she was, I believe, part-time.
But that wasn't done by
And then they
council?
gave her, no, it wasn't done by
Okay,
us.
all
No,
right.
that was
I
done
just
by
wanted to
the
clarify that.
administration, yeah.
Right, no, I just want her to receive what she is deserving of, and she works very, very hard. She recently applied for a grant, in which we received a $25,000 grant in order to buy some carts for the veterans to take the food out of home from the veterans distribution.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she does all this above and beyond the call of duty, and for her not to be compensated for it is, I think she should be. And for all her work, and she's a tremendous asset to our community and to the city government.
I know the individual you're referring to, and she does a fantastic job, as
She
does
does.
your department. However, any changes in titles or duties or anything like that should come in the budget as a recommendation from the mayor. And
Well, I've submitted it, and it was frowned upon, but that's another thing. I'm hoping it could be resolved in the future, in the immediate future, and that she is justifiably rewarded for her hard work. So we've been doing that, and that is a monthly duty that she takes on, that we take on, and fortunately, we have a tremendous amount of help with the DPW, and so it's been a very successful program. It runs 12 months a year, and usually the first Wednesday of the month. So, but we're doing that on August 7th. I plan on having a Veterans Appreciation Day in honor of our Vietnam veterans, as well as our Purple Heart recipients. So we're going to have a function down at the VFW in Beachmont and honor the individuals who participated in Vietnam and also received the Purple Heart. So that would, and then we're going to be having a Veterans Day program at the VFW. Recently been talking to Steve Fieldings about the senior center, and that he wishes to also have a program sometime in November to honor our veterans too. So it's been a very good year, and our office is very active, and we're very happy to take care of all of our veterans.
I agree with you 100%. You're doing a great job there. I know that there are so many programs in the city that you do get involved in, and that's a good thing. It reflects well on the city, and it reflects it services our veterans in a proper and deserving manner. They certainly deserve any attention or anything that they do get.
I happen to be the chairperson of the Romney Marsh Burial Ground Restoration Committee, and we've been working diligently on that all year long. We recently had some work done down there, and we're just trying to keep the cemetery beautiful as it should be in honor of all our veterans who and some of our early settlers here in our community. So to honor them. And so we've been working on that. We have a committee for that. There's 11 people that are on our committee, and we work very hard. Pretty soon we'll be having our bocce on the beach tournament come August. And some of you counselors have participated many times, and I appreciate that. And all this money is used to beautify the cemetery. So that's about it, Mr. Chairman.
Any counselors have any questions here?
I just had a question. Does Howie work with you?
Howie is a volunteer.
Yeah. How many volunteers do you have down there?
I have 4 volunteers.
And these people should be congratulated because they're going in there volunteering at a time with no compensation at all.
None whatsoever.
Okay. I didn't hear their names mentioned, that's why.
Well, I did mention there's Bill Reedy,
Yeah,
Frank
Bill, you mentioned Bill,
Frank Sorrow,
Yep.
Howie Scher,
right?
and
Howie.
Scher. I'm forgetting someone.
Howie?
Yes, Howie Scher.
Okay. What?
Oh, Pam Anderson also. Pamela Anderson, she helps out also. So Margaret Johnson, there's another person who. So Steve who? Oh, Steve's always there. Yeah, yeah. But
No, I think these people should be commended for the amount of time they volunteer. With no compensation, that's amazing.
They're there sometimes daily. Others are there once a week or twice
Right.
a week. But they're a tremendous help to me, and they make my office move a lot easier than if I didn't have them. And I do appreciate all the work that they do for me.
And the other thing is, as far as your principal clerk typist, whatever it is, that's established by civil service. And what the mayor has in the budget is to create a human resource department, which I'm 100% in favor of. Okay, that will make sure everyone is treated equally and fairly. And if there are job changes such as yours, they submit it to the human resources and they have a civil service examine that.
Well, these changes have been done in the community without civil service.
Right,
And,
but that's changed since Brian became mayor.
But I've been fighting for Donna for at least 3 years, and it's very frustrating.
I can imagine.
So,
you know.
and she continues to perform tremendously, even with the controversy with the position. So,
Right.
but
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
There's no question about that. I'm in your office occasionally, and when I'm in the building department, and I see her there, and she does a great job, and that's something that perhaps should be looked at, maybe when this Department of Human Services comes into effect.
I hope so. I hope it's before her retirement.
She's not retiring, is she?
No, but I mean, I hope it's before her retirement. You know, a lot of times things are said and, things aren't done at
Again, the city can't, we can't
in a
add
quick manner.
positions or recommend, we can make recommendations. And I think
Right.
you've made a recommendation tonight by your presence here and bring it to the administration's attention. Any other questions? Councilor Patch?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to, as a Vietnam veteran, thank Nick and his staff of One and his volunteers at, see Franny sitting out there, doing a fine, they just do a fine job. When I talk to veterans who seek your help, they always come back with answers, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I don't have any more questions.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. The next department is the Elder Affairs.
Hello, councilors. My name is Stephen Fielding. I'm the Director of Elder Affairs in the Rossetti Collins Senior Center at 25 Winthrop Ave in Revere. And I just want to mention that our department also has a very small budget. In Revere, we serve 20% of the senior population, which is about 2,880 seniors. There is some multiplicity in there. Over the last 3 years, we've increased our participation by 74%. And this year in particular, it's grown leaps and bounds. Particularly our meals program, we average about 250 lunches or dinners for seniors a week. We, in the fiscal year 2015, serviced a little over 8,100 seniors using the senior shuttle. There was a lot of multiplicity in there as well because we use the van for the same people every day, taking people to and from the senior center as well as to outside appointments and back home. We have a staff of 5 full-time people. That's 3 people working 40 hours a week, 1 working 30 hours a week, 1 working 20 hours a week, and then we have several people that are paid through other sources not in the city budget, like the DPW senior program and our elderly programs account. We also have about 7 volunteers that come every day. And without them, we wouldn't be able to have the programs and services that we have. Outside of the city budget you see in front of you, we receive a state formula grant, which if we did not, we would never be able to operate on this budget. I mean, you look at this budget and you say, how do you run a facility in the programs and services? There's no way in hell you could do it. But thankfully, the state has a very strong advocate in our own Representative DeLeo, and we've been able to secure and push through legislation to increase the amount of dollars per senior per the last census in the city. Outside of the state formula grant for our meals program, I have what they call a Title III meals reimbursable grant. Seniors pay $1.50 as a quote-unquote donation. We're reimbursed for that. That allows me to buy inventory for the next month to feed these people. The other grant that we have is called a Health and Exercise Grant, and it's a very small amount. It's under $10,000, and that's for reimbursement for several of the instructors that we have in regard to health and exercise, which is sanctioned by the state. So I just want to, at this point in time, thank you for your support over the last 3 years that I've been there. I definitely want to shout out a thank you and a recognition to the staff that I have. You all have met them down there. They work extremely hard. They're very passionate about serving seniors, and it comes from their heart. And they go above and beyond. I know a lot of people say that come up here, but when you're dealing with the senior population, it can be a little bit challenging at times. They're wonderful people, but their expectation level is high, and deservingly so. But I think that we have tried to improve and give them services beyond the everyday human services provisions that we give them. And that's it.
I agree, Stephen. I've been down to many of your programs down there, as you know, and I've always been impressed by the different functions you have down there. I understand you have a bocce program upstairs now?
Yeah. We have 48 people that participate for almost 8 months a year.
Yep.
We also have an outside bowling league,
Yeah.
which has about
And
25,
that's
30
That's a
people.
great thing, because there are probably many people in the city that would enjoy that.
But it's funny, we have people who come every day. It's their livelihood. It gets them out of the home. But at the same time, it's a different group of people that come and use all the yoga and meditation, and the book club, the Zumba, all the exercise programs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, we're always looking to recruit people. So, please recommend the senior center for them to come down. There's a lot of people that, believe it or not, are not aware of what we have down there.
I have a friend of mine that goes down there every Tuesdays and every
I know who he is.
Thursday, Anthony Barrasso.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
I think, he recently lost his wife a year or two ago, and this is a great thing for him because it gets him out of the house, and it gives him an opportunity to get on there and mingle with people in his own age bracket.
Yep. And he feels very comfortable, and a lot of them are like that. There's a lot of people down there, and we don't have enough men coming down there. It seems, men die off easier or faster or earlier. We have mostly widows. And I'm always trying to get new men down there. And Anthony's a great guy, and there were several others like him, so
Yeah.
it's good.
Great programs down there. And I think a lot of people would be lost without those programs.
Absolutely.
Any councilors? Councilor Ganasso.
Mr. Chairman, I had the privilege this past year to be invited down to the senior citizen building, and I attended one of their meetings. It was a question-answer period, and it was very, very interesting, exciting, and they asked a lot of various questions of me, and I thought it was a real great opportunity to meet and greet with them and be on a different level rather than a political level, as when I go in and when there's political times going out shaking hands with everybody. We just sat and talked and went over issues, and I just it was a great opportunity, and I appreciate your invitation. And I think what you do there, what your membership does, and what the people who go and frequent on a daily basis, they receive quality care, quality attention, and they're certainly appreciative of what all the activities that you've mentioned and the trips that you take. And it's just a great program for our city and our community, and certainly it's a tribute to the citizens of Revere for funding this type of source and to giving seniors a better life in the latter years. And you made mention to some particular fact that's very true.
Yeah.
The women outlive the men.
But I do have to go back, this is all
I'm not
possible.
happy about that.
And I hope that anybody who is a counselor that is a senior comes down and register, because I can use the numbers to help with the grant numbers. So we'll sign you right up.
Thank you, Steve. You're great.
But the staff is great, though. I have to say, because of the staff that I have, and we have a great team, we work well together, and we really focus on servicing the seniors, and that's what it's about.
So, Stephen, are you saying that if Councilor Hass and myself came down and registered, it would help push
Maybe
the
another
numbers
10
up?
grand or something, I don't know.
Right. Councilor Patch, too, he's... Yeah. Councilor Hass.
Mr. President, Steve, you've done a great job down here in your tenure. You've addressed the needs of the plant itself, the roof, and the masonry around the windows. You've done a great job there. And as far as the citizens who get down there, they're really impressed. We have a lot of people who were formerly in Saugus. They've come to Revere. Saugus has probably one of the better senior citizens groups out there, and they come to Revere. So you're doing a good job, a lot of activities for the seniors, etc. So I want to congratulate you and your staff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hass. Councilman Morabito?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to just give credit where credit is due for a great job. Since you've taken your position, you've revived that senior center. You've increased activities, programs. You've uplifted the spirits of all the senior citizens who attend that facility. And just the accolades that they give you should stand for itself and tell you what a great job you're doing. Thank you.
It comes from the heart. I love working with the seniors. They're great people. And
I have a question. I want you to know that if you need any support from the city council, please don't hesitate to come before us. Also, are there any maintenance scheduled for this year that you know of?
We're having a meeting next week, I believe. It used to be called the Capital Improvement, and it's kind of a revisit to what was done this past year there with the roof and some of the other things, but going forward as well, because we're in dire need of several major issues. So there's a laundry list, believe me. So that'll be discussed.
Thank you.
And as far as reaching out to councilors, you'll be getting an email from me soon about a big event that we're planning that we'll need your financial assistance in. And it's not for the senior center itself, it's for the seniors themselves.
Exactly.
And
thank you for the emails. You're always keeping us up to date with functions that's going on at the senior center, so thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilor Morbido. Councilor Patch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Steve, it's saying how much you've changed that senior center. But I know you coming from the hard work that you did before that with the Holy Name and down St. Mary's and the church. Your character you were the right guy for that job.
Thank you.
And I want to thank what you do for the seniors. And like Councilor Morbido said, that if you need anything, we're here. We'll try our best to help you out.
Yep.
And as long as you satisfied with the budget?
Yeah, I mean, there's things I'm working on with the administration in regard to staff and positions, salaries. I know there's a human resource person that will be coming on, so I've been working with the administration on kind of moving things around a little bit and changing titles and writing job descriptions myself, too. So I know that's in the works.
Fine. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Councilor Keefe.
Just once again, great services over at the senior center, and my parents get to the senior level at some point. I hope that they have a place like that they're able to offer, use as a resource. A great job, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming up here, Steve. Appreciate it. Commission on Disabilities. John is snoring. Okay. Consumer Affairs Director. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Janine Ellis, the Director of Consumer Affairs. Any questions? Everything is going as usual for us. Small budget.
118, 120. 18, 19, 20.
I know, so what am I doing here? Yeah, well, we do have the grant too. Yeah, so, but that's it. You'll find a question.
Am I looking at this right? There's just the two positions down there?
Yeah, well, we have two for the city, but then we have two other people that get paid on the grant, so
Okay.
all four of us all together.
And basically, the work done down there is answering or assisting residents that have problems with businesses or companies that haven't worked out for them because there's for better lack of a word, a grievance of some type between them and the companies.
Consumer
And,
complaints.
And your department is there to mitigate those grievances
Exactly.
in a satisfactory manner for the residents that have that particular problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any councilors have any questions? Councilor Morabito? Go ahead, Councilor Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Ellis, once again, it's meager means, and certainly you do for the small amount of money that you have appropriated. I think you do a very good job, and I know that your fellow staff member or one of your staff member does a very good job. I know I personally go to him when I have any concerns, and he's always been very helpful. So, great work. Thank
It's
you.
helpful to me too.
This is good.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Councilor Patch?
Okay. That's it?
Mr. Chairman, I'll be very brief. I'll say the same on the line of Councilor Keefe. That you and your co-worker there, he must keep you very happy.
Yeah, he does a good job.
But you guys, you people should be commended for what the good job that you do down there. And
Thank you.
and if you have no problem.
We're,
Fine.
we're good. That's
Good.
good. We actually did get $6,000 increase from the grant, so.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably have to use that for our outreach program that we have to get going on.
Well, keep up the good work.
Okay, thank you. Okay?
Thank you, Council Patch.
All right, thank you.
Councilor Morbidi, do you have any questions? Okay. Janine, thank you very much for your attendance here this evening. Next is the library.
My name is Kevin Sheehan. I'm the director of the Revere Public Library at 179 Beach Street.
Okay, would you care to tell us something about your...
I want to start off by saying that the library budget is a pretty lean budget as it is. In order to make some of the budget cuts that the mayor requested, I was able to reduce the amount of utilities because in previous years I'd expected an increase in the cost of electricity and natural gas, and I looked at the past few years and there were thousands of dollars that weren't spent. And so I cut that, and also in order to sort of buffer in case there's a hot summer or cold winter. I mean, I'm planning on. I've been working with the National Grid to schedule an installation of LED lighting to save on electricity costs by about $3,000 a year. So I think that would still cover us. The library applies to the Mass Board of Library Commissioners for state aid every year, and in order to qualify, 12% of the budget needs to be spent on library materials, understood as things that patrons consume as library patrons. So, for example, barcodes for books or book covers don't count, but the books themselves do, or the computer software counts for that, and it's 12%.
12% of the budget?
Right.
Okay.
The problem with the library is it was a building built in 1902 for a population about a quarter the size of what it is now. The main reading room on the second floor is not much bigger than council chambers here, and most of the shelving is built in around the walls, so you can only cram so many books into that small space, and it's a lot of effort to kind of weed out the old books that don't get used and try to replace them. So I've been trying to lean towards a lot of online resources.
It is a very old building, and I know it probably requires more maintenance and more upkeep and more difficult to operate than a new and modern building.
Oh, and also, I know you'd be happy to hear this, Councilor Powers, that I do have a purchase order to replace a chain link fence around there that you brought up to me some time ago.
Yeah, the chain link fence in the rear.
Right.
Every Sunday when I'm down there at Immaculate, I look at that fence, and it's really, I think I put a motion in last year.
That'll be replaced this summer.
And that'll be replaced. That's good to hear. I'm sure that, there's a lot of people that go in there, and I think when you look at something like that, and it brings one word to your mind, and neglect. And I know that's something that you're working on, and I'm glad that it's being resolved. And it'll go a long way down there, I think.
Also, we'll be replacing the decrepit picnic tables that are outside the library.
Yep. Okay. Any councilors have any questions? No. Councilor Patch?
Mr. Chairman, I just, do you have any grant money coming in?
Well, the state aid is grant money. There are a few grants that I've tried to pursue, but honestly, for example, there are certain teen services librarian grants that I could apply for, but we don't have the space requirements. We don't meet the requirements. Like a while ago, the Lynn Daily Item had an article about their teen space. Well, we don't have a teen space, and that was a requirement to qualify for that particular grant that I had looked at. So as of now, we only got cultural council grants for programs or the yearly state aid, but I have been looking at and attempting to apply for some.
Okay, thank you.
Just for the edification of the general public, what are your hours down there now?
The summer hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 7, Friday, 9 to 5. And the winter hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 8, Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5.
Okay, I think that's, I don't have any questions. Any counselors have any questions? I guess not.
Thank you.
I know you do a good job down there under very difficult
I
circumstances.
appreciate that.
with
May I
regard to
take this, the council indulge me in publicly thanking the library staff?
Pardon me?
May I publicly thank the library staff for all their hard work?
They do a great
Back when
job
the
also.
new statue was installed.
When I said you, I meant your staff also,
Oh, okay. So,
you being the director.
okay. So
Thank you
that
very
covers
much.
everybody. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We did the school department. Yeah, the city clerk had to go to the emergency room at the MGH. She had a problem with her hand, her finger. Yeah, and she has a broken thumb, and she will be back in work tomorrow. So she couldn't be here tonight, but okay. City council budget. It's basically, any questions any councilors have on the budget? No questions? It's basically the same. We do a great job. We're a great city council. We work hard for the people, and I know that a lot of people are under the impression that this is a job that you do Monday evenings for a couple of hours, and if I showed you my cell phone or my call log, that's not a fact. We're out there 7/24, and there's call after call after call after various problems. And a lot of those problems are in Ward 5 too, with the flooding, et cetera. And I pat myself on the back. And the next zoning board of appeals. Just Michael's here to see one. All right.
ZBA. You want me to do? Oh.
Same as, yeah, no increases. Mr. Mayor, you're here this evening.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to speak before you. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things, because I think folks had questions about both the Parks and Rec budget and the Veteran Affairs budget. In terms of the Parks and Rec budget, as I think most of you know, there was an individual who was being paid out of the Parks and Rec department who didn't work for the Parks and Rec department. So we, in an effort to make sure that budgets align where money actually gets spent, we moved a position, or that individual, into inspectional services. Understanding that I do not want to cut programming for Parks and Rec, and I've made that directive very clear to the director of the department. I made a decision to include in the budget an assistant to the director position, which would be vacant, because I think that position would be important in terms of the manpower and the ability to make sure that programming continues on. As the council might remember, last year, there was an additional position requested that was subsequently cut out of the budget. And that individual continued to work for the Parks and Rec department under the youth program, summer jobs program. So if we look back, and this is what I did, when I looked at the budget and when I looked at each individual department, in 2012, fiscal year 2012, the Parks and Rec department spent $319,000. 2013, they spent $287,000. 2014, they spent $412,000. In 2015, they spent $420,000. The total budget for the Parks and Rec Department is $435,000. So I just want to give people kind of some perspective into what happened in the previous budget, that there was a position cut out of that budget. There was somebody in the budget who was working in a different department. And so the idea behind the kind of organizational change in Parks and Rec was that we'd have somebody who does program activity work and give that title to that person, that there would be an assistant to the director, which has always been the case, and that there would be a director. So the manpower, if you look at it, the manpower hasn't changed. The number of bodies that department will have will not change. But the amount of money that they have will. And I think that's in line with what they've spent, the actual amounts that they've spent over the last couple of years. And it's actually an increase over what they've spent in the last couple of years. And I'll note also that for this year, the rec department, as of today, is actually $31,000 over budget. So just to give folks some perspective. And as you all know, I am very, very conscious of how people spend their money and that they stay on budget, and we will work on that. Aside from that concern or that issue that was raised in Veterans Affairs, I understand that a department head has to advocate for their employees, and I have the utmost respect for Nick and for Donna. The work that Donna's done has been amazing for the city. I did have a conversation with Nick that during the budget process that we wouldn't be upgrading anyone, and that human resources, the idea behind having a human resources department would be to look at those things, to look at job titles and look at what people get paid and making sure that the job descriptions and the job titles match what people are doing. So there was no reorganization in the department. We kept it the same, and I have made, I told Nick that we would look into what we can do, but at the end of the day, what I want all of you to understand is that I need to treat everyone fairly, and that hasn't always been the case. And I want to make sure that every individual who works for the city is treated fairly. We have a lot of great people who work for the city. They work very hard. They make our city look great. And we need to treat everyone fairly. We can't pick and choose who we want to help out. So with that, I appreciate the deliberations that the council's had. This has been a great process, and it's a lot of fun to be on this side of the podium. If you have any other questions as you've gone through the budget, I have no problem answering them. Thank you.
So what you're saying, Mr. Mayor, in FY 2016, FY 2017, there's $15,000 increase in that budget down
For, you're talking about rec?
there? Yeah.
No, I'm saying the 15 actual was $376,000. The 16 actual is, again, is over budget, almost 10% over budget.
Really?
So I just want that context, and the context that we've, just a couple of years ago, we were spending $287,000 in this department. And even at what I think would be considered fully staffed, we were spending $412,000. So.
I think Councilor Keefe has a question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Powers. And thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I appreciate you coming up here and clarifying. And this isn't because of you or anyone else. The numbers, obviously, we can go back year over year. Because of the appropriation of salaries, the numbers really don't tell the truth. in 2012, 2013. We could pick apart the names and the numbers, but it's just as clear today that we have people in the department that aren't working in the department getting paid under that department. We also have people that I only know her because I use her as a user of the recreation department and as a user with multiple children in the city's programs. Maria is she's not listed in this department. She is getting paid out of apparently the summer youth jobs program, I believe. So that has been taken away for next year. So it's kind of like the shell game. And so I know that this is going back to 2012, 2011, where there's really no tell. And I'm glad that you're clarifying the budget for moving forward. The process that you put forward is going to give everyone transparency to see where the money is really coming out of, where the money's going. But at the end of the day, the shell game still says that, and I'm not going to use people's names, Maria is leaving. She's not being budgeted for next year. There's a person in the budget.
She was never in the budget.
Correct.
Just to be clear.
Correct.
So it's not, I didn't cut that position.
Yeah.
That position was
approved.
proposed, but it wasn't approved. It was never approved. It was proposed last year. It was actually cut by the council. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, the previous administration didn't really recognize or respect the fact that that position was cut, and they found another way to fund that position. So just to be clear, that position was never part of their budget, and that person was never in the budget.
Correct.
So
I fully
and
understand.
there was another way, another avenue to fund that person, and again, the number of bodies that are on the budget that are down the department don't change. The fact that somebody was being paid out of a summer youth program, which is, we've spent to date $242,000 on summer youth jobs. So that's a lot of money. And so I have to, I know numbers may not tell the story, but I have to look at every penny. And for me, I need to make sure that we're getting every bit of worth in every dollar that's spent. And this was somewhere where, we don't need to cut programming. We don't need to change the number of bodies. What we have here is pretty much a level funded budget. But what I need to do is make sure that we're prioritizing and we're able to provide the services that we all know and we all want.
Yep. And like I said, the correction is moving forward. I think that the way you've structured the budget with people in the right positions is great, because we can compare it year to year. That's why good budgeting practices come into play. I don't fault the director. I don't fault the department head for the way the budgets were written in the past, because they're just doing the job typically in response to what the mayor's direction is. So I don't fault that staff, but the truth still lies. The fact, and this isn't you cutting or anyone particularly cutting. All I'm advocating for is to be able to utilize the resources. I don't think that it's wasted resources. You have a director, correct me if I'm wrong, a director. You have an assistant to the director, and you have a senior. You have now a program activity coordinator. That's 3 people, correct?
Right.
And if you walk into the Recreation Youth Center today, there's 4 positions there.
But there are 3 budgeted.
Correct. But
There are
right
3
now,
budgeted.
there are 4 positions there. And if you go back 5 years ago, there were 4 positions there. I'm not saying that they were certainly not getting paid. Who knows where they were getting paid out of? Not your fault, not anyone's fault. There were 4 positions there 5 years ago. There were 4 positions there 3 years ago. There were 4 positions there this year.
And the money in seasonal salaries has not been cut. So if we wanted to, and I explained this to the director, and I mentioned this, as if there's somebody that we want to fund out of the seasonal programming, that's fine. I don't think that the council would have an issue with that in terms of having people. But this budget is a little quirky because of the moving pieces with somebody who was being paid out of it that wasn't really working in the department. So we wanted to clean it up and make it right and make it so that you all can look at it and know exactly who's where and what's going on. So I understand the fact that there may be 4 people now, but there are on the books, and in terms of what the city council approved last year, there are 3 positions, or 3 bodies, I should say.
And so, in my greatest concern, and the reason I state this is, we have a brand-new facility down the Harry Dale LaRussa Stadium. We have a not completed, future brand-new facility down the St. Mary's Fields, and we're going to have less responsible persons in order to coordinate all of that, in order to keep all of that together, and in essence, make sure the program, we're going to hopefully have more programs coming out of those with those parks and those amenities, that, I would expect that we would have some senior or some staff that is able to handle that, not necessarily thinking that the children, and listen, the kids summer youth program, I was a product of that many years ago in a different city, but it's a great program, but I'm not necessarily certain that adding to that would be what was warranted. I would think someone that is able to help handle the responsibilities of that department, and that's my biggest advocate, is so that we can take care of those parks, take care of the responsibilities of Harry Dale LaRussa, because to be quite honest, I've said this before, and this is no fault to anyone, not right now, but there's not a lot of priority down there making sure Harry Dale LaRussa is being kept in order the way it should be, and there's not a lot of priority, and there's not a great plan right now, and I think that you'll do a great job administering that, and we don't even know, no one knows what the plan is for St. Mary's down the road, and so doing it with less people, wanting, like Mr. Powers had mentioned, wanting to have that basketball program back up and running the way it should be, because I put my children in basketball in the city, but I also put them in basketball in private organizations, because right now the city doesn't have enough of that. It's there, it's good. We would like to see more, and I am under the impression that the city wants to take on more of those types of programs. But doing it with 3 people, doing more with less people down the road, I just don't think, I think it's a recipe for, it's not a recipe for success.
I only disagree with the fact that we have less people, because we don't. So the budget is still the same number of people, or the same number of bodies. The decision is, the policy decision is whether or not we pay somebody out of our summer youth program, as the previous administration did, if we fund a full-time person out of that salary, out of that those seasonal salaries. That's a question, because that's only a question because that person is leaving in the summer. So if she were still here and still working, she still wouldn't be in the budget, and she'd still be down there. So the number of bodies wouldn't change. The fact is, she's leaving, we need to backfill that position. I understand that. But it wasn't in the budget before, and my opinion, it doesn't need to be in the budget. We can use those seasonal salaries to fund that position.
Well, and once again, thank you very much. Extremely thankful for the clarity, and I will say, being newer to this budgetary process, I'm glad that real positions are going to be putting the right departments so that we can plan down the road and we actually have real comparisons, because at least next year we'll be able to compare it to the people that are working in the actual departments, because it is pretty embarrassing that having people working in departments for 2 years that actually aren't working in those departments. Don't ask me why, and I know it has nothing to do with you, but I appreciate you putting that all back together. Thank you.
Any councilors have any questions, sir? Councilor Patch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for coming up. To get back to the Parks and Recreation, the assistant director that was listed for 2016, she has been working there for about 1.5 years. So the senior clerk has been actually acting as the assistant director. My only concern is that today was the last day of school, and they have programs that need to be done, and I think they're, like Councilor Keefe said, they're going to be understaffed, and I just wanted to, I just don't think it's the time to to actually, to let one person go down there, because who's going to help the director? I mean, you got it vacant as the assistant to the director, but that's going to take time to get somebody hired. I mean, who is going to help the director to run these field day events and these events down at the schools and our different wards that we have? That senior clerk was at all these, and
I don't know if he was at 4th of July, but I will say that we will make it a priority to get the director of recreation, Parks and Recreation, the full complement of folks, and it will be, it'll be done. It'll be a priority.
Well, I hope you're right, because there's nothing more precious than our kids, as you know.
I agree.
Yeah.
I can't agree more.
I know you can't. And I have a granddaughter that goes down there also. And I've had several parents call me and are very concerned about the staffing condition there. And I really don't see the purpose, but again, I don't make the decision to do the hiring. That's your job. But I wish I could just recommend to you that you reconsider filling that senior clerk. We could call it recreation director or recreation field director or whatever. You come up with a creative name. And actually, that's what that Sally does down there. She handles all the programs. That's her job. But as far as these field events, that was the senior clerk's job to handle all the different. All our wards have a day, and there's a certain day, and that was his job. Sally didn't do that. So, and now, who is going to do that?
I will say again that we will make it a priority to make sure that department is fully staffed and able to handle all of the events that are coming up this summer. And I appreciate the recommendation, Council Patch. I do. And part of what happened in this budget was, or this department in particular, is the fact that we had some moving pieces that we had to correct in terms of the assistant to the director position.
Right.
There should always be, in my opinion, there should always be an assistant to the recreation director. So I wanted to keep that position. But there was, I wasn't gonna, unfortunately, I wasn't gonna add an additional position into the department. So that was my recommendation. That's before you.
Very good. Thank you.
This concludes the third and final meeting of the Ways and Means Committee to discuss the FY'17 operating budget. Any counselor that there's going to be an email going out. Any counselor that has recommendations, they can submit them in writing, and they'll be taken up at the
I made a motion
meeting
to
on
pass,
the 27th.
right? The mechanic.
Yeah, recommendations in the form of a motion, yeah. All right, this meeting is adjourned. The next meeting will be at the regular city council meeting on the 27th of June at 6 p.m. And at that time, we will finalize the FY'17 operating budget for the city. Thank you.